So welcome back to my channel, guys. This is Jimsies, and yes, this is my labor and birth story with Heidi, my second baby. So basically, I've been feeling a bit crampy through the whole 39th week of my pregnancy with Heidi, and I was anticipating she would arrive soon. My guess of her actual date when she would arrive was somewhere between the 25th and 27th, and I decided to go for the 27th. And yeah, that's the day I went into labor, basically. So it was Saturday, and it was around about lunchtime. We took Connor to the Esplanade, the park, because it was a nice day, and we went out to the park and we had a bit of a picnic and a play at the park. I was feeling quite strong cramping now, and I'm like, oh, and I'm looking at my partner, I'm like, something might be happening soon. I've been feeling a bit crampy all week, but they weren't that strong. They were just felt like annoying kind of period pain, but like not really, wasn't any a big deal. But these ones were like quite strong period pain, so I had recognized that feeling. Even though I've been in labor and given birth once before, I was still feeling, a little nervous, a little anxious because, every pregnancy and every birth, every labor is different. Everyone was telling me, yes, the second is much more easier than the first normally. There were a couple of my friends who had more trouble with their second child than their first. So, you just never know. You just never know. So everything was looking good for a straightforward birth, but I was still nervous. And excited, of course, excited because, you waited to meet your child for so long, and we knew we were having a girl, but we had no idea what we were going to call her. We had a couple of names floating around, but yeah, not one had been decided on. I had a strong suspicion that, yeah, things were going to happen very soon. If not today, then tomorrow, sort of thing. So they just kind of came and went over the next few hours, and it was around about 5-6 o'clock that they got like quite strong again, and they were persistent. Like they weren't going away for half an hour or a couple of hours and then coming back. They were happening every 10 minutes or so. And Mum was like, hey, do you actually want to start counting these, timing them, seeing what's going on? I'm like, okay, yeah. They were proper contractions. So yeah, they were happening, so around about 6 o'clock in the evening. They were sort of lasting around about 30 seconds. They weren't like hurting, they were just uncomfortable period cramping sort of feeling. And they were about 5-10 minutes apart, 5-7 minutes apart, and this kept happening. And so just over dinner, so like 7 o'clock, they got like quite intense to the point where I have to pause and be like, and like gripping onto the table. My thinking was that I would be able to have a shower and have a little bit of a nap before things would like actually get to the point where you had to go to the hospital. But my mum's like, no, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna be going to the hospital in a couple of hours. I'm like, yeah, because with my first labor, it just took forever. It was a 36-hour labor process from like early labor to the end. So around about 8 o'clock, 8:30, when we were putting Connor to bed, my partner did like most of the putting him to bed part. But like I found that walking around and stuff, the contractions would happen like sooner. Like they were sort of happening like more 3 to 5 minutes, but they were a bit shorter, but they were a lot more intense. But when I was sitting down, they took a lot longer to like happen, so they would happen more like every 5 minutes. But they were much longer, and not quite as intense. Still intense, but not quite as intense as if I were standing up. Had a bit of a moment, saying goodnight to Connor, because, I was kind of like, this is the last night that it's just you that I'm going to be putting to bed. Like, this is the last time, because in a few hours you're going to have a sibling, and just our lives are going to change forever. Again. I don't know. Anyway, so I go in the shower, And yeah, it felt good because I noticed last time that shower in the water in the bath is amazing and it feels good. It helps sort of alleviate the contraction pain, but it got pretty strong while I was in the shower. I was probably in there, I don't know, for like half an hour, and through that time they were happening like definitely every 3 to 5 minutes, and they were pretty intense, and like I was kind of leaning over getting the water to like hit my back and stuff. So yeah, man, they were pretty strong. So yeah, we were sat in the bedroom. I think we were watching Fairy Tale on the laptop. Like, of course I wasn't like watching or registering anything that was going on because I was in labor at like 11 o'clock at night. And yeah, they were really strong, like to the point where I'm like, I'm like, and I'm like, kind of not yelling, but like, like, ow, like kind of thing. I didn't want to be too loud because I didn't want to wake up Connor, of course, because he's asleep and everything. We decided at that point that it was probably best to go to the hospital. So I had my bag packed this time because last time I didn't actually have my bag packed, but that was fine. But yeah, got all the everything, and we headed out. Mum took me and my partner off to the hospital, and my stepfather was just at home so he could like look after Connor in case he like woke up or whatever. So we got to the hospital. We'd phoned the midwife before we left, and she was already there. And yeah, I could not walk, so my mum pushed me up in a wheelchair. Yeah, so I'm sitting in the wheelchair, and she'd had the bath. She was drawing up the bath for me because I love the bath, as I just mentioned. And yeah, so hopped in there very promptly, got like the robe on, and hopped in the bath, and it was lovely. Strangely, I hadn't had a bloody show or anything, so I was a bit confused because last time I'd had a bloody show like right at the beginning of everything, so nothing like that had happened. Like, yeah, sorry about TMI, but yeah, my like mucus or whatever it's called hadn't really even changed at all, so that was a bit weird, I thought, but apparently that's normal, whatever. Yeah, I'm just sitting there like and gripping the side of the bathtub and gripping my partner's hand. And they were doing, my mum and Welly had my feet, and they were doing like acupressure on my feet, which I liked. But like last time, they were doing it on my back, or my mum was, but I was not feeling that this time. I was not feeling it. I wasn't even really feeling the feet acupressure. I was like, oh, like after a while, I'm like, no, just don't do it. I just did not want it. Hey, I don't know. I held out as long as I could before I asked for the gas because with the gas, it is amazing. Seriously, it's the best. It's best not to start the gas too early. Otherwise, by the time you get to the end, it's going to have less effect. So I held out as long as I could until I was like, I cannot do this anymore without a bit of help, a bit of pain relief. So went for the gas. Oh, that's amazing. So I'm sat in the bath. They have a little portable gas tank thing in the nozzle, and you gotta just before a contraction comes on, you huff on that stuff like there's no tomorrow, and it's good, and it really helps. I feel like it helps me a lot, especially because I feel like I tense up like crazy with the contractions, and you're meant to relax as much as possible, but I just tense up as much as I try to relax. So the gas got me relaxed. It got things moving. I stayed in the bath, and I had sort of moved around. So I was like in the bath, like belly in first. And Welly, my partner, had the little spray nozzle and was putting the warm water on my back through contractions and stuff, and that was amazing. I don't know, it felt real good. So I was like that for quite some time, and then I started to feel that pressure in my bum. Just, yeah, I'm like, okay, like things are getting imminent now, and I just sort of felt like I needed to like roll back around. So yes, I rolled back, so I'm like onto my back, and I've got my legs apart and stuff. and I could feel the pressure and everything, and I could feel her kind of coming down the birth canal and stuff. Felt all the pressure and stuff, and then there was like this loud kind of burst, and I felt it kind of like boom, and it was my water breaking, and I could see it even like moving like through the water. It's like kind of shooting like torpedo. I don't know. But I could see it, and my midwife's like, there goes your waters. Like, things are gonna happen now. Like, it was almost, I'm not gonna say effortless here because it did take a bit of effort, but compared to my son's delivery, it was effortless compared to that. Let's just say that. But it was, a bit of a push, bit of grunting going on, and the gas still. I could feel her sort of moving her way down the birth canal, and I hadn't planned on having a water birth necessarily, but I do actually recommend it. Actually, if you're looking into it, it is awesome, and I feel like it is a much more gentler experience. She was almost here, and I'm just kind of huffing on the gas and like grunting, like I didn't like scream or anything this time. I was just kind of grunting, and I had to kind of pant like because if you push out too fast, you could end up tearing, and that's not good. So I was just kind of panting, but I couldn't really help it because my body's saying push, and I was just trying to slow it down a little bit. And basically, we were pushing for 10 minutes or so, and out she came. Felt the pressure just come out, and then like, my midwife obviously had her and plopped her up on me, and there she was. And I'm just kind of, lying in the bath, legs. And yeah, there she was. Oh my gosh. Meeting her for the first time, it's amazing. It's amazing. Firstly, you think, wow, I did that. Like, that came out of me. How amazing is the human body? How amazing am I? For doing this and accomplishing something, giving life to this beautiful thing, this beautiful person, beautiful little girl. And yeah, there she was. And she had a little cry and everything. It was lovely. She was fine. And she was just there on top of me, and the towel sort of over me and over her. My mum and the midwife were keeping the towel like wet and like warm. So we had the skin to skin and a bit of photos going on and stuff of those first moments. She had pooed a little bit of meconium, that's what it's called, like on the way out, which was all good. And apparently she was born with the cord around her neck, and I've always thought that was like dangerous, but actually, like, my mum told me like a lot of babies are born with the cord around the neck, and it's usually like no problem. Actually, weird, huh? The things you learn. She was born like 10 minutes of pushing at 1:30 in the morning on the 28th. 20 minutes, half an hour later, everything else was born, all the placenta and stuff. You gotta appreciate the placenta, man, because it's actually quite big. And although it kind of looks a bit gross, it's a beautiful thing because it connected you and your baby for that whole time. So I have respect for the placenta, and we bury our placentas in my mother's garden underneath rose bushes. So yeah. I got away with the tiniest little tear that didn't need any stitching or anything, so that was awesome because I had 3 decent size but not major tears last time with Connor. So yeah, no real damage or anything. I didn't even need to be like examined to see how like far dilated I was, because things just progressed really well. It was so beautiful, and it was just so smooth, really. Could not have like asked for a better labor. So that was my labor and birth story with my daughter. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please hit the like button if you did, and please hit subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in another one. Take care, guys. Bye. Thanks for watching.